Hello, everybody. You know what time it is. I know what time it is. That's right. It's time for Syntax Live. I hope you guys are all doing well. Tonight is going to be a fairly short stream because honestly, I did not have time today to get anything ready except for going over the comments section, which we will be going over here. And just like Alan says, first things first, Merry Christmas Eve to everybody out there. Appreciate you and very much appreciate it. Hey, Demon's here. Cool. Awesome. Hey, there's Guardian too. All right, we got the problem is, Demon, you're gonna have to send me let me know what you want as far as a shout out here. Speaking of shout outs, before I actually let me kick this off, right?
Reactor online, sensors online, weapons online, all systems nominal.
Let's hope they are nominal for everybody here. And I raise the glass to everybody's health. And it's not going to be an unboxing today, but, or hold on, let me get this right. But when I went to the mail today, somebody sent me something. Now, he usually doesn't like shout outs, and I haven't opened it yet. I haven't even had time to. That's how busy I've been today. However, there's most likely a letter inside. If he doesn't say no shout outs, I'm going to send the shout out. If not, or you know how this is going to go. So anyways, let me get that screen full of ass. Yeah, Erica, I wasn't, I said last week I was going to try. I wasn't sure. So, and by the way, your name is right there on the top of shout outs for this week. So yes, you're all set. Don't worry about that. You're, like I said last time, when you sent your extra super and everything. So let me scroll up here. I'm going to start off really quick with the video game compilation. Guys, this is not going over too well. I did this one this week because honestly, I didn't have much time for much else. However, at least I got a couple heads up. The people liked a few things. The whole thing of like the power of Christ compels you from Dr. Evil. And, Burt Gummer. Broke in the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you? So, yeah. I'm going to change this to once a month, guys, for as far as the video game compilation, because I honestly don't have too much. But it will be continuing on. On that note, I'm going to go straight into the next one, which was human exosuits. Apparently, and guys, I know I screwed this one up a little bit. I do appreciate you guys being with me on that one. And I know it was a little, hey, Quagmire, help me out.
Giggity, giggity, giggity goo. Stick around.
Well, yeah, it was meant to be kind of goofy. Now, originally, this was set in by someone else. They wanted me to do the actual foam as a liner inside the suit, like a nanotechnology. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this one. And I figured, how do I put, God damn it, I forgot to put the picture on here because I have one of somebody yelling, Kyle! It was put in the comment section that was originally in the Marines. Honestly, I don't know if it actually started with them. I do know in the Army it was fairly common. That being said, I do have to apologize a little. It was jumpy because I used they way too much. And
holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
That is an MCF guard coming in with a $10 super chat. He says, well, it's a surprise to see you, especially since I thought you wouldn't be doing a stream today, but hey, I guess things change. And there's Guardian with the, where is it?
Heresy, remove this filth.
Now I have another soundbite for you, Guard. I know you're a 40K fan, and I did find a decent one from 40K. It's actually a Space Marine yelling, but I'll save the special till next time when I have time I haven't even changed the buttons on these guys. That's why, like I said, I just have enough to review what this week, and then we're going to be calling it a night. But let's keep going. All right. With human exosuits, let's see. Now, a few people came up with some really good stuff. Okay. As far as the pills for muscles, I didn't write down who put it up, but the muscle hypertrophy I'm mispronouncing it. I know what I want to say. My tongue doesn't want to work. Hypertrophy syndrome. And that's when. Oh, hold on.
What? What the fuck?
You didn't have to, but Erica sent me a $3 super sticker. Thank you very much. You were already good for this week, but I very much appreciate it. Make sure you guys save you some of your cash for whoever you're buying Christmas presents for. I got, don't tell anybody, but I got like $1,000 in cash and different cards that are getting handed out tomorrow, along with lotto tickets. Don't tell anybody. That's a secret. Took me about a month to make sure I had it all saved up. So, anyways, just because I had some extra expenses recently. Regardless, when you brought up the muscle syndrome here, I'm not going to try and pronounce it again. There's actually pills for this that actually cause your muscles to constantly grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And it reminded me that BattleTech talked about that. Now, when I was younger, I read all the books. I loved BattleTech. I still do. I think they're going a little too crazy with Clan Wolf. However, regardless of that, BattleTech actually talked about that specifically because there's certain people that would rather work out for an hour and a half to 3 hours a day than take the pills. And everyone's like, why do you do that? You just pop a pill. You're good. They're like, yeah, I'm doing it the old fashioned way. So, are you sure you didn't send any guard? Because I got some actually already in there. And we have, let's see, what button can I push for someone who's a demon? Well, if I saw one, I'd be saying,
Great Scott!
There's an SS Demon with a $10 super chat. And he says, I'm so excited to be here today, even if it's for a short one. I miss being here. It's a nice Christmas present for me. And as for the soundbite, I'll have to think about what I want. Thank you all for what you do. And thank you for being here, Demon. Very much appreciated. And let me finish writing this down so I don't miss your shout out. Also, anybody else, if you want a specific sound out or shout out, Erica, I don't remember if you sent me something, and I try to do something at the end. But I gotta deal with the YouTube censor, guys. It is what it is. Regardless, let's see. Oh yeah, it was brought up about the whole military hidden technology. And the thing is, nanotechnology, nanofibers, and stuff like that it's been a thing for over 10 years. They don't want you to know that because a whole realm of medicine and things like that will come in. It's so crazy. I saw all this stuff coming out, and I'm just like, you've got to be shitting me. And then, of course, the one that told me, he magically got transferred to another location. He took all his notes with him. Really, really smart guy. Of course, I was just security for him anyway. But he was actually surprised I could keep up with what he was saying. I'm like, dude, it's not that difficult. I just can't do the math like you can. He's like, okay, point made. Anyway, think of it this way. You need an angioplasty done. Now, normally, that's a very, very complex operation where they got to strap you into this chair of doom, and they run a wire from your thigh all the way up into your heart. Well, what happens if they just give you a shot and monitor the critters going in there, where instead of pulling the clot out, they cut it into tiny, 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 tiny little pieces and most likely consume it for fuel? That would work a whole lot better. And then eventually you just piss the fuckers out. So anyway, that was it for human exosuits. By the way, it was meant to be funny, guys. I hope you got a laugh out of human exosuits. And yeah, I had to ease off on some of the sound effects. And I hope you didn't mind the Chewbacca scream as a female alien reaching her climax. Anyway, let's make a deal. That was the next one that came up. Now, a lot of you got, now this one came up as somebody wanted a fantasy sci-fi. There was also a make the humans the bad guys. So I decided to mix them all up. I could have got a better thumbnail. but I figured this one was good enough. Anyways, the whole thing about coming with me if you want to live, it just suited that perfectly. So that's why I put it in there. See, are there going to be more chapters? That was a big question. Probably. This was actually kind of a breakout hit. I got more views on this than I got in anything in 2 weeks. So this one is pushed way up to the top. Let's see. Somebody was surprised about the ogres versus trolls. Now, if you know about Norway and Sweden area, you know that they supposedly have the big ass trolls in that area, because if you look at the way they run their power lines, they run in a giant loop, but the power goes nowhere. It just runs in a loop like it's a giant electric fence. So it makes you wonder, what the fuck are they keeping in there? Something that's, 30, 40 feet off the ground. Makes you wonder, don't it? So I figured I'd use that. Not to mention there was a found footage video that came out on that, and I thought that was kind of funny, so I worked with that. Now, the question that came up that I had trouble explaining for this one, since they are doing a mix of fantasy and sci-fi, and with the magic stones, which, by the way, grow right between the heart and the aorta inside the chest, actually just below the heart, the question is, what do you do if you eat it? Or what happens to the human body if you eat it? Well, there's a lot of X factors there, which is why this could get very in-depth very, very quickly, because it depends on how fresh the stone is, from what creature, from what universe or planet it's coming from, what the person, if they have any ailments or whatever, that's going to shift everything. There's so many factors in that's why most people just kind of hold it in their hand and use it up. It's just that simple. However, it can lead to some very, very funky stuff. Let's see, where was I? Let's see. Oh, yeah, the ogres versus trolls. I forgot to mention, somebody said, old RPGs are where it's at. You know who you are. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Let's see. The next one was The Stray, or Astray. I believe I wrote the on that one. Anyways, there was a bunch of questions on this. Just to close the loop on it, this story was one of the very first I did, which is why the first chapter, the audio sounds kind of yeah. So on that one in particular, I hope you didn't mind it too much. I went back and I finished it because, again, I was just getting started. I didn't know if it was going to take off, so I didn't want to spend too much time on one story, which is why if you kind of look at the thumbnail, it's pretty sparse. Now, the question was, how many have hybrid children? Well, do they actually get them? It's possible. But you got to remember, at the end of part one, they kind of say something, and that's kind of the what the fuck moment of the whole thing. For those that haven't watched, I don't want to go into spoiler territory. It was a bit tongue-in-cheek, and I decided to, again, have fun with it, just to kind of make it kind of, oh, what's the word? So, yeah. Also, somebody brought up the fact that in deep space vessels, it's kind of sort of sucks in there. Yes, exactly, which is why in a lot of these stories, they put a lot of accoutrement inside to just to kill the boredom a little bit, just to get through it. But that's just the way it is. All right, on to the next one. Again, there wasn't a lot of comments. A few of these, by the way, this one here, Astray, if I remember correctly, was only 3 chapters, and it was the whole thing. This one here, Why Humans Are the Best Friends You Could Ask For, that was only 2. It was a 2-parter. That's why it was so short. That's why it kind of in the middle, it kind of shifted sideways. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? So, anyways, I'm spilling shit. Anyway, somebody brought in a good point. At the end of this, I could have said, why humans are your best friends and your worst enemies. I could have, honestly. Again, this was an older video for these when I start doing where it says complete series. That will be, I'm starting from the back end. I actually wrote all of them. Where's my notes? Ugh. When I started doing complete series, hold on, let me full screen this. When I started going through all the series I have to see what was going to get posted, I shit you not, I started with one page, and these are just the titles, people. The numbers mean something else, but these are just the titles of the series. I went on to another full page, and then I kept going. I almost filled up 3 pages of just titles of series that have been done. So, yeah, whenever I get really pulled behind, that's what you're going to see. Fair warning, whenever there's a complete series, the game is not in play. Period. Okay, so any shout outs that you hear are from previous videos. All right, where was I? Okay, the last one that was on there is humans are quiet until they're not. And this was when I did this one, this is actually a hat tip to pretty much the infantry themselves. Now, if you want people who are just loud and shock troopers, we have Rangers, we have Marines to do that sort of thing. That's their whole deal. Regular infantry is there to be very, very quiet and to pop out of the woods, scare the shit out of you for the second before they shove their knife up your ass. And then into your neck so you don't scream. Which, by the way, that whole thing about dragging the blade across the front is such a line of Hollywood bullshit. It's crazy. You actually stab it in Saw. They only did it once in any movie I've seen, and that was Tears of the Sun. On this one, the only thing I got was heard it before, still good. Apparently, this is like the 3rd time they listened to it. So anyway, that's literally the end of my notes. I'm going to keep the notes down here in case you guys throw anything at me, any extra curveballs. And I'm going to run up here into the media assets, and I'm going to throw on one of the 2 videos I got for the week.
The reactor's almost critical. Hold your ground.
Okay, I'm looking over the comment section here, and a lot of folks saying that the video games are okay. You guys seem to enjoy it. Seems to be not the newer folks to the channel. No, not Kyle. Kevin. Okay, I'll try to do that one. Guardian saying, yeah, the exosuit was a funny one. The pleasure input was apparently dialed up. Yeah, I wasn't kidding. That's why I wrote 111% above. Or not, sorry, not wrong. Instead of dialing from 1 to 10, they dialed it to 111. So that's why they were completely losing control. And that's why they literally, at least the males, usually just fell over completely, totally exhausted. That's why the only one who can keep their shit together was a female. Alan says, hey, Sin, you have things to do. That's fine. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a one-horse thing here. And by the way, I'm not going to ruin it, but tomorrow I got some Christmas presents for you guys. Okay? So just letting you know. Hey, Guard, as far as the other clips, send whenever or whatever, whenever. I'll take them. I just save them for the week. And that's why if I look in my media here, I still got the ones from last week too. So no worries. No worries at all. Okay. I love when this thing jumps. I just absolutely love it. Guards, I don't like 7. I was going to send tonight or tomorrow. Okay. Erica made some homemade seafood chowder and bread for the salad tonight. Me personally, I had a big ass steak, hopefully not from the ass, and then a side of squash, which I grew in my own garden. So aside from the salt that I put on that son of a bitch, everything came from here. Actually, the squash, if you guys ever have summer squash, by the way, when you mash it up, take about a tablespoon, full tablespoon of real maple syrup and mix it up in there. And I don't know why, it just really, really helps with the taste. And we make our own maple syrup. So everything we had was actually real food for a change. But yeah, homemade seafood chowder sounds like a good idea. As Douglas, how you doing? SSD, his mind's going everywhere. I got so many ideas for Unknown Fleet. Just haven't had time to work on it. I'm hoping to get some of it done this week. I need to, considering I'm only working 3 days a week this week and the next week. Woohoo. Yes. Hey, take your time, man. It's always important to take your time. Just like when I do something like something familiar, it's not just that I have to write down every single word. It's the fact that it takes a lot because you're working with a whole bunch of different factors. I shit you not. Is it here? Is it there? No, I think I might have left it downstairs. Let me see. Is this it? I think this is it. And yeah, let me get to the page here to show you. See, I had to, when I was going through and I'm writing, I actually had to write all these notes sideways because I realized about halfway through, see this big old X right here? That's almost an entire page. Plus there was a page behind it that I realized I literally came upstairs and went, idiot, because I screwed it up so bad. Oh my God, did I screw that up so bad? So I had to go back and rewrite it. It's just one of those things. So yeah, take your time so you don't end up doing that. And I should actually have Carlos Mencia, D, but really walking up the stairs, I go.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Although when you get the next one, you guys are going to be saying, it's a trap. I guarantee it. Lena says, I think the new Spielberg movie is going to be suspicious. Well, if it's Avatar, it's going to suck. The reviews are coming out for that. And that looks, I haven't even listened to the reviews. I just saw the titles. And apparently it's a snooze fest. And none of it makes any sense. I'm like, well, no shit. It's an Avatar movie. Of course it doesn't make sense. Let's see. War Thunder, Guard saying War Thunder's really, really driving a nail in my back of my skull right now with these incompetent teammates. Yeah, that'll happen. Unfortunately, that's when I used to do Battlefield 2142. I used to always take the engineer because that's how I helped everybody out. I'm running around with a friggin' welding torch, fixing all their vehicles and with the medical kits and all this other fun shit. They liked having me around. We won a lot, but my KD ratio was garbage. Demon says, I like the older stuff still. You have done nothing I don't like. Well, give it time. I'm sure there's one you're just going to be like, what the fuck? I know because sometimes I'm done writing it and I sit there and go, what the fuck did I just do? Guard continuing with, like, imagine being the top guy of your team with 16 kills and 3 deaths and spending half the match moving between all 3 points and defending them. Yeah, been there. Only for when you get a nuke, your teammates all of a sudden act like chickens with their heads cut off and you lose the match. Yeah. I got shot out of the sky before I even made it halfway to the drop zone with a nuke, and my teammates had big balls to say Irish trash to the Wow, really? Really? Oh, man. That you were, what the fuck? I mean, seriously, even when I used to do MechWarrior Online, I never pissed off the guys who had the awesome KD ratio, even though I knew it was the lights who just went around and basically, you can't see me, I'm shooting you in the back, you can't see me. Of course, now that they have the Inferno missiles, it's made it friggin' yikes. And if you want to really ruin someone's day, a shit ton of rockets. hit any assault in the back with a full blaze of like 30 or 40 rockets, yeah, you're going to overheat and shut down. One off, you're literally going to blast your whole combat load, but they're going to go down like a sack of shit. And if you're lucky, you'll survive the cooldown process before you explode. Guardian says, for your really long series with over 10 chapters, it should probably be made into 2 or 3 parts. Are you talking something familiar? Or are you talking, Are We Human Enough? Or are you talking They Call Us Monsters? All those were pretty long. Are We Human Enough? I could have really kept going with that. However, it wasn't really catching a lot of traction. I might continue that one when I put out the actual series that I have so far and just label it as a saga. Just like They Call Us Monsters, so far I got 2 different sagas on that. And they're like 30 chapters apiece. Guard says, anyways, I'm pretty much off till next Tuesday because I can find the holidays with days off and my paid time off days. Well, that's always good. I've only successfully dropped 3 nukes. Oh, yeah, only 3 nukes. Yeah, you know what they say. He almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and atomic bombs.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Yeah, not about that, but something is right about the Guardian Sage. Sending in a $5 super chat. And he says, where have all the great beasts gone? Where have they fled? Where have all the great beasts gone? Oh, which we used to dread. Oh, of which we used to dread. Why do I have no idea where that comes from? Away, away, have you flown away across the furthest sea? Away, away, they have gone away, far from you and me. With another $5 super chat. I have no idea where that's from. You're going to have to tell me where that's from, Guardian, because I am completely, totally lost. I don't remember ever hearing any of that. That being said, let me scroll up here so I can keep going. Again, we got a fairly short time tonight. I'm going to be calling it fairly quick. But yeah, dropping 3 nukes. You know what they say about almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and atomic weapons. But you never know. Anyway, give me a second. I want to see if I can't snag this real quick. And come on, you pain in the ass. My computer's acting up, guys. I'm sorry about that. Let's see. As it's trying to figure things out, it says, I mean, hey, I can see new members not being accustomed to it, but anybody who's been on this channel longer than 3 months knows of your weekly ritual. Okay, yeah. I'm just adding some asses to my things. I mean, but you never know what you're going to need, right? Anyways, Lena says, I did find an old anime from 2019 called Overcautious Hero. It's got very funny to me. Yeah, that was goofy. I remember seeing that a long time ago. Holy shit. What was that, 6 years ago? Yeesh. That was, I don't know. It's too much for, I don't really get in the rom-coms too much. I mean, I do write romance-ish, more like relationship. I don't really do the romantic comedy thing. Because most romantic comedies are the most evil people in the world. They're either trying to destroy a relationship or pull somebody out of a relation or tear somebody's heart up who just finished a relationship so they can pick up the pieces. It's absolutely nuts. Douglas says, I personally would love a big pot of chicken and dumplings and a big plate of biscuits and gravy. That sounds good and all, but I'm actually sitting here getting the meat sweats. I'm friggin' dying. It says, I would love for you to write about merfolk, which is one of the cryptids on this planet. Now, I actually have done merfolk. One of the things, like the one, Something Familiar, they had merfolk. It was actually a big part of it. Now, they're not with the group anymore, but it was a major portion. It's difficult to do merfolk for one simple reason, is because most people are not on the ocean, and if you're not in certain areas of the ocean, you wouldn't deal with them. Now, speaking of certain parts of the ocean, I do have to bring this up, is the fact that they have figured out why so many ships go absolutely tits up in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. There's something about the way the underwater is shaped along with the magnetic fields in that area. The magnetic fields fuck up your instruments. However, those, along with a few other factors, cause some absolutely massive rogue waves. They start compiling some of the journal entries from some of these giant freighters that come through. One of these fucking things was an actual oil tanker. It almost snapped in half. When it got to its destination, it had to be decommissioned because the rogue wave hit it so hard that the hull or the keel actually bent. So if it can bend one of those, just think of what it's going to do to a wooden ship. I mean, just kablooey. Demon says, Sin, I have an idea that I will email you, and I want your opinion. I don't want to spoil it for everybody if we use it in part 2. Okay. Lena says, I'm referring to the new Disclosure movie that is made by Spielberg. I think he knows about the aliens. When they put it in a movie, that stuff has been going through all the censors, and I mean all the censors, so I can't really trust it too much. Is it possible that some of the information is coming out? Possibly. But just like when they brought out Alien Autopsy when I was a kid, I mean, everybody went gaga over it, and they're like, are you sure this is real? Nobody freaking knows. It could be they put out something that was real, but they interlaced it with fake footage, and now nobody believes it. I don't know. It's so difficult. So, I mean, it should be an interesting watch, though. Demon's finishing up what he was saying by saying, also saying the Unknown Fleet playlist is still backwards. And I was wondering if you will add PAI video to it since it ties it to it or not. Wow, I might just compile it into complete series and call it good, because I fixed it twice already. Twice? Yeah, twice. For a second, I thought I was going to say 3 times. Okay, Guardian says that's an original poem by you. So let me get this straight. Where have all the great beasts gone? Where have they fled? Where have all the great beasts gone, of which we used to dread? Away, away, they've flown away, across the farthest sea. Away, away, they've gone away, far away from you and me. Maybe somebody will cut that and they'll actually put it on another video. Who knows? Lena says, in the anime, the hero is overpowered, but he wants to be prepared for anything. Yep, I remember that. And of course, he has to be the most sexiest man alive. And every single female needs to want to have him, and every single man needs to fear him, because that's what the power fantasy is about. I personally could not get behind it, because honestly, I'm sitting there going, what the fuck am I watching? Hey, if you enjoy it, by all means, enjoy the shit out of it. I'm just saying, me personally, I couldn't get into it. I did finish the whole thing. I did think the weights at the end was really smart. That was a clever twist right there. I didn't expect that to show up, but that was actually really good. Let's see. Guardian says, in a part of a story I'm working on, I'm curious if you'd be interested in using it as a story prompt for one of your own stories. How about this? Finish what you're working on, actually finish it, and once it's done, you can do like a certain guy who has nothing but Prozac and pancakes and send it in. And I'll just do any adjustments I need to, which last time was just some editing work, and I'll put it out. That's simple. I got no problem reading what you guys send as long as it fits the channel, i.e. no erotic content. As funny as I try to make things, you'd be amazed the kind of shit I have to actually stop and go, nope, I can't say that. I can't say that. I need to reword this before I keep going. It gets annoying sometimes. But you know what? It's worth it. All right. But yeah, just as soon as it's done, let me know. Lena says, I do remember how almost reformed War Goddess personally and made her fall in love with him. Yeah. And his girlfriend, ex-wife, whichever way you want to put it, walks in on her mounting him. You're not supposed to sleep with mortals. Oh, I couldn't help it. And it's like, right. Like I said, power fantasy. Guardian says, the concept is that mythical creatures actually exist, but something happened around the time of the Roman Empire that caused the mythical races and creatures to leave Earth. That sounds pretty good. I'm kind of doing that with the with this one. Let's make a deal. Not quite the same. However, breaking into other dimensional Earths or different planets in the solar system is actually going to be what finds the different ones. At least that's how I do mine. You do yours. It sounds like they're going to be similar, but not the same, which is just fine. Sounds like yours is going to be good, and I look forward to reading it. Let's see. Story idea. Let me get my pen here. Humanity use Morse code, sign language, and Braille. Oh, 2 L's. Okay. To communicate and avoid communications being intercepted by alien enemies who can easily translate the human verbal and written. Okay. To hide comms. Okay, I like that. It's actually one thing I really would insist on. If I was actually in charge of the school system, for someone to graduate, they would have to know their base language, which here in the US would be English, a second language, the second language would have to be Latin, by the way, because that's a root language for almost every single one on this planet. And the third one of their choice, preferably something of their lineage. Like for me, it would be somewhere in Eastern Europe. And also a communication which is nonverbal, and they can choose whichever one they want. Morse code would count as one of those. But hey, I'm not in charge of that. Lena says, well, you can always write mermaid walking on legs in human form. It's possible. Yes, it is. And that's actually kind of the way I did mine before. Like I said, with something familiar. As soon as they dove into the water, their legs kind of merged. If I remember, that's the way I wrote it. God damn. I wrote so many stories. Sometimes they twist in my head. And by the way, the whole thing about a mermaid turning into human form. Yes, we have all seen Daryl Hannah's ass in the movie Splash. When I was a little kid, I could actually draw that from memory. And I still remember that was the first time they actually showed a woman's ass on a PG movie or PG-13 movie. Probably the last time, too. Demon says, I've been making myself sad lately. I've been watching breakdown videos on Anime Violet Evergarden. My favorite anime of all time is it makes me cry. Even just listening to small segments gets me. Well, I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. There's going to be something dropping tomorrow. And even in the thumbnail, it says, go check links below. And in there is a link to, and you can look this up when you're done, called The Soldier Silent Night. I cannot listen to that without getting choked up because I have a lot of survivor's guilt. Okay. And any of us that have been deployed, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. And it tears you apart. And I listen to it at least once or twice this time of year because obviously Silent Night. And yeah, that one hits me too. I mean, I'm not an emotionless robot, just mostly a robot. Although you don't want to listen to it around anybody too much, or else.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Yeah, it is. And if you're depressed, somebody here has advice.
When I get sad, I stop being sad and be awesome instead. True story.
Yes, make yourself awesome, my friend. As if you're not already awesome. See, Lenin's here. He says, you never know. They could get the real UFO ship into the movie and the actors would never know. That's actually true. I mean, hell, sometimes actors didn't know what type of technology they were truly working with. Let's see. Demon says, soundbite, maybe something okay. Soundbite. Demon. Armored Core? I don't know. I'll find something related. I'll have to think about it more. I do love those games. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, if you think of something specific, send me an email. I'll pick it up. Guardian says, I took 3 years of German in high school. So did a buddy of mine. And he actually went to Germany. I went to Germany too for Oktoberfest. And it was fucking awesome. I loved it. The only thing that was bad is one of the guys that was with us, he lost his wallet every day for the 3 days we were there. By the way, if you go to Oktoberfest, only go during the week. The weekend is terrible because it's just, the crowds are just everywhere. Let's see. Lena says, One Punch Lady Anime is the last episode. She punched the villain goddess into the orbit so that she became a star. Is that the one? Let me ask you something kindly. I think that's what that's called. Something like that. And yeah, that looked like a funny one. I didn't get a chance to actually sit and watch it. I see it come up on my feed every once in a while, but I'm just too busy. I can't sit and watch the whole damn thing. But there are certain parts that make you think, okay, she's a badass, beat you in the ground type woman, and then remind you she's still a woman. Some pretty boy comes up and starts holding her close. She immediately gonna melt because that's what all animes do. Let's see. Alan says, language is grunt speak and construction chatter. Like I said, with me, it's English, bad English, and infantry. That's what I speak. Guardians, I also picked up a bit of Latin. So did I during college, but I forgot most of it. But that's only because of my chorus teacher. Okay. I had to memorize a bunch of Latin for naming fish and birds and stuff like that, which, by the way, served me never. And going to college is one of those things. If I end up finding a DeLorean with a flux capacitor and I can go back and unfuck this, going to college would be the last thing I did. I'd be making these stories as fast as I could. And I'd make them a whole lot more in depth. Now, let's see. Demon says Violet Evergarden was a child soldier, basically an emotional weapon, who, after the war, was freed and went on a journey to understand what the words "I love you" mean. She was a wonderful emotional story. Okay. I can understand that. That's like the Master Chief in Halo trying to regain his humanity. Good luck, by the way. Lena says, I do like watching incorrect summary of Ace Combat 7. It's pretty accurate, to be fair. I couldn't play. I don't know if it was 7 or 8, but one of them, they screwed up the controls. No matter how much you push the stick to one side, the aircraft wouldn't go past 90 degrees. It was like playing an arcade game from back in the day. So after that, I just stopped playing Ace Combats altogether. I knew I couldn't return it, so I threw out the disc. The one with Garuda 1, yeah, that was, I think, the last one they made that was actually decent. At least in my eyes. All right. Well, we're pretty much reaching the end here. I'm going to throw up... do we see this one? I'm already hearing the sound in my head, like at that long distance, and the kick is up, and it's good. I used too much of the Darth Vader. I have you now. So let's see. Demon says, I know Armored Core with human pilots is kind of unrealistic, but I used as AI mech drones would make it more doable with sudden turns and those high speeds. The thing is, you couldn't move something that's shaped like that at that speed. Pure and simple. There are people online who have actually done the math on the joints and everything else, and it would literally rip itself to pieces. Now, a few of them, like the tracked ones, they are so low level to the ground that that's a possibility. However, they wouldn't move nearly that fast. They again, the stress of the metal, unless you found a different type of metal, would shake it to pieces. A fun game. Don't get me wrong. I love playing Armored Core, but as when it comes down to actual science, it doesn't pass the sniff test. Oh no, definitely not. Does it pass the sniff test as a good game? Yep. Actually, I remember doing Armored Core where I would actually remember to charge it. Somebody always have the energy blade because you never know when you're going to need it. Lean said, I will flood the back of the submarine so that I could fire that railgun. Oh, okay. I'm not sure where that's going. Let's see. Alan says, some of the chats don't show up on my chat sheet. Well, it's actually, even on my end, it's jumping like crazy. So we're not going to be on here too much longer. Demon says, you have to go settings, change it, and show all. YouTube keeps it on newly only. Yeah, I actually, believe it or not, during the comments, when I check you guys' comments, it's all screwed up. I have to change that constantly too. But, or should I say, but that's a different one. However, but let's go back to the comments. Let's see. Yeah, that anime is about punch people. Okay. Gart says, God, one of the hardest parts about being a grease monkey, though, is that you can't scratch your damn ass without staining your underwear with oil. Oh, shit. Oh, that's just funny. The thing is, it's funny because it's most likely true. Oh, man, that is just absolutely hysterical. And let me see if I can get rid of one of these and actually get something else in here. I had a whole bunch of images I wanted to get up here for this kind of holiday one, and it's just being a real pain. Let's see. Guardian, does it pass the sniff test for real physics? The answer is no. For a huge number of games, movies, and shows, absolutely. Which is why, again, it's one of the reasons I became such a huge Battletech fan, is because no matter what they do, except for the amount of tons, everything works. It works literally as advertised. Lena says, sometimes I will test your knowledge about Star Wars, like aliens speaking French. Oh, you were the one who were asking if that's what they were doing, speaking French during... Oh, you know what? I just pulled it off of here. No pun intended. The exosuits. Yeah, they weren't actually quite speaking French, but they were speaking a different language. And by the way, that the noises in the background, believe me, that was no language. That was just noise. Let's see. Demon says, I have some clips I'd like to send you, but I have to figure out how to get them off of my PlayStation. You got to get them off? Oh, dude. I haven't had the time to do so. Tell you what, I believe Guard could probably tell you how to do that. He sends me most of the video clips we get. So, yeah. And he says, the Armored Core universe is actually quite strong. Sad it didn't get as much attention as others. Which is true. I will say this. Some of the best science fiction cutscenes and CGI of their time. They actually put Blizzard to shame as far as like Warhammer and stuff like that. You know, and those were really good back in the day, but let's face it, the Armored Core has always had some exceptional ones. So anyway, seems like we're just about done here. And it's just about that time. I actually got to go hang out with a family member of mine. So I'm going to be cutting things short here unless I see another comment come in. And of course, you guys, you know who you are. You're the best around. And nobody can say otherwise. And I didn't see a war sniper. And I didn't see Brian. So they're probably working with whomever they're working with, or at home with whomever they're with. So anyway, and Rage, come on, you're just coming in now. Come on, man. Oh, come on, man. So I can't do the voice. So anyways, guys, I'm not going to give you a long drawn out safety brief tonight. I'm just going to say, look, I appreciate you guys being here. I very much do. I pray that you guys have a very safe and very fun, very eventful holiday. I raise a glass to everybody's good health. And I only ask that you do your part by being careful. Okay? There's always going to be some idiots doing something stupid. Don't be that idiot. No, we have cell phones. Film the idiot, post it on YouTube, get 1 million likes. So on that one, make sure that you guys, again, have your fun, call your families, call your friends, wish them Merry Christmas. And all I can do is also say Merry Christmas to everyone out there and to all a very good night. Take care.